Hey guys, it's Lizzie. So I've been gone for a bit. During Lent, I was live streaming every single week, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. So I took a little break because it was a lot. I absolutely loved Lent, but it was like binging in every single area of my life. Being at my church like 10 hours a week, so many masses, so much social media, so much YouTube. So I have been editing a ton. So I've been doing that for my YouTube channel. I look really washed out. I have my light right here. Maybe, let's see, is this better? No, that's worse. What I really don't like is that on the iPhone and the MacBook, it makes you look so pale. And I promise, guys, I'm really, really tan. But do you guys notice that? Like on Instagram, if I'm doing an Instagram story or Snapchat, it makes me look so pale. And then when I film on my normal camera, I look normal. So I don't know what the deal is with the white balance, but I wish when you were taking pictures or editing, you could change the white balance. Because I promise I don't like saturate. I saturate my videos a little bit, but I generally am really tan. So this video is Ask Me Anything, so we can talk about anything you guys want to talk about. We can talk about atheism, veganism, traveling, speaking. I am speaking in Northern California really soon, in a week and a half. So I'm going to have that linked below. Hi, Lizzie, I miss you. I miss you too, Joey. Peace be upon you. Peace be with you. Hi, Lizbeth. Hi again, Lizzie. You might get exposed by a Protestant YouTuber. I've gotten a lot of videos made about me through the years by Protestant YouTubers or just people. Even when I was Protestant, there were people going after me. I've had atheist YouTubers go after me. So I think one of the biggest atheist YouTubers who went after me has like 500,000 subscribers or something, and he made some pretty intense videos against my theology, but it brought a lot of people to my channel, and I actually had a really intense really long messages going back and forth between us about his faith journey, and I didn't change his thinking, but we had really good dialogue. So I think it's really positive when people make videos about each other. And obviously some people will sorry, I'm changing the light. Some people will get offended and stuff, but as you guys know, I'm not a sensitive person at all, so I'd love any feedback. I'm really glad you waited until after GOT ended. Oh my gosh, guys, okay, so you know how I never watch TV or movies? So I was just at a Game of Thrones, watching party with my boyfriend and his friends, and I kid you not, I watched 3 minutes, and then I just took out my phone and I spent the whole time replying to Instagram messages, Twitter DMs, and Snapchat messages. So I was gonna bring my laptop and work on my talk for my speaking event next week, but I did a ton of social media, and it was good because I was forced to be in one room. So yeah, I got a lot of work done, and I saw Game of Thrones. So I did watch Game of Thrones in, I think my junior or sophomore year of college. One of my guy friends was into it. So we watched it for 5 minutes, and it was too sexual or violent or something. So then I went to the other room and I let them watch it. So I'm definitely not a TV or a movie person. I can't do it. If I want to just chill, I do watch YouTube, so I guess that's kind of like movies, but I'm watching from Brazil. Have you ever been here? No, but one of my roommates is from Brazil, so I hear a lot of stories about it, but I really, really want to come to Brazil. It's my next country. Also the Philippines, Australia, and Rome. I just stopped eating meat. I'm going vegan. Oh my gosh, yay, we could talk about that. I don't talk about veganism. I talk in my live streams a lot, but not in my videos. But I recently made a whole vegan grocery haul about being vegan. So I linked that below if you haven't seen it yet. It's my most recent. I think I made a video, top 5 lies about bipolar and misconceptions. And then my second video I made before that was all about my veganism, what I eat, crazy grocery haul type stuff. So how to do better in college, wanting to quit. I think that it's really hard working and doing college at the same time. I know that I was doing YouTube full time. I would be working 30 hours a week and then doing a lot of studying. And then it also, you're spending so much time with your friends and any clubs and sororities. So I really encourage you to say no to things because I think that's really hard. You want to be involved in so many clubs, you want to hang out with so many friends, you want to do so much work. And so just say no to people and just really prioritize studying and find friends who also really want to study and study together. Because if you're friends with people who just want to drink and hang out and do fun things but don't actually want to work hard and study together, they're not going to influence you really well. The people around you show you who you're going to be in 5, 2 years, in 2 months, the people around you. So surround yourself by people who will motivate you. College and work at the same time is a really hard season, but it's not forever. Yeah. I would say that I didn't realize it at the time, but I think that college was the hardest time of my life just because I was working constantly, constant classes. I would live off of like 4-6 hours of sleep just because there's no other option. Now, just since I'm doing only work, even though I still work 12-hour days, it's so much easier compared to when you also have all of these deadlines from classes. So I promise once you get through it, you're going to have much more of a flourishing full life. So it's just for this period of time, work, so much pressure. But then after that, when you get into the working world, even if you're working like 12-hour days, it's still less stressful than college. And I loved college, but it was just a lot. Did you receive communion on the tongue or in your hands? I do both, but usually in my hands just because where I live at my parish, that's how everyone does it. So that's how I learned to do it. Hi there, Lizzie. I'm currently taking a medical leave of absence. What advice do you have for me? Because I'm super scared and anxious about not being in school. I was really worried about that. My parents really wanted me to take a semester off with my depression, but I kept working through and I failed so many classes because I didn't take a break. So I think it's so amazing that you're listening to your body and actually trying to get better. And so just realize that this time away, it's going to make the next few years so much more flourishing and productive and successful. So I think it's honestly so courageous to take a break. I know a lot of people in our culture will be like, oh, that's weak. If you take a break, you need to keep going. But I think it's actually the strongest thing to just pause and get your health in check. So I think it's great. Bipolar update. Love your live stream. The message was held for review and I was like, what happened? Because it was love your live streams. They are so fun. You're the best, Lizzie. Avoiding studying for law school. Final over here. Pray for me. Oh my gosh. My best friend is in law school too. I texted her. I'm like, oh, how are you? So yeah, law school is so freaking intense. And like what I was saying, where working in college, undergrad is really hard. Law school is a whole other level. Like my best friend really wants her degree and everything, but it's awful. Like the entire process is awful. But then after you get your degree and you just get to work, it's the most amazing thing. So it's like work, pressure, pain, no sleep, no life. But once you get out, it's so amazing. Lizzie SDA said that Catholic changes the Sabbath to Sunday instead of Saturday. Hi, Lizzie. Hi, Google account. It's so nice to meet you. See you again. I did the college work thing and the high school work thing, but more part-time in high school, hard years, but survived. Yeah. And I was actually working in high school too. I think that it's different because my parents were economically supporting me in high school and I had scholarships in college, but my parents were paying for my dorm and for some of my food. And so it wasn't this stress of like, oh, I have to work or I can't eat, but still the amount of hours I put in with my YouTube, I was basically working through half high school and college. So I think it's not as intense as you guys who actually you're relying on yourself and it's so stressful, but I definitely had the experience of having to work through that time. It's really, really hard. Lizzie, answer me. Do you still remember me? Yes, I remember you. Did you know that teenagers actually need more sleep than toddlers? That's actually wrong, but you're right. Teenagers do need I don't know if it's 12, I think 10 hours of sleep it depends on what year, but like when you're 12, you need like 12 hours of sleep. Hi, Lizzie, I love you. I love you too. Okay, live chat. You're my favorite Catholic YouTuber. Oh, I'm so happy. We love you, Lizzie. I love you too. What do you think about the refugee problem in Europe? So, obviously, I'm not a political scientist, I'm not an expert on it at all, but I wish that more countries in the region would also take in refugees because I feel like Europe is taking in so many of the refugees, and I wish that it was more, for the entire world was all helping. Even people in the Middle East, I think there's some countries who are not really helping out, and like, you know what I mean? I just feel like it should be more equal with how. So I think certain countries are being really, really hurt by it. And it sucks. I think if you think of it in a human context, yes, you can pour and pour and pour and pour into other people, but if you're not taking care of yourself, you're not going to be able to love other people. And so I think that some countries, you have to take care of your own country or you're not going to be able to help other countries. And so I think obviously there's a balance, and obviously everyone needs to prioritize refugees. But I think that when some countries are doing all of it, it's not good, because your country, your economy, it's not going to do well. And then you're not going to be able to help the people you're trying to help if you're not taking care of your own country. Does that make sense? And so I think absolutely we need to help refugees, but I think that some countries, some people are kind of against it. The reason they're against it is because they want to make sure their own country is strong and loving its people so they can help other people. So I think that it's unbalanced who is helping, What should I do if my girlfriend tries to kiss me and we've been dating for 2 weeks? Just push her away. I had to do this a lot in life. I think that it's becoming less of a thing, but when I was growing up, like in high school and college, I think people would just like kiss you without asking. And I guess in relationships and situations like that, it's a lot of nonverbals. Like you're getting nonverbals with, I'm not saying with sex, but with different physical things. It's kind of like, oh, can I hug you? You know what I mean? You just hug people. And so I think with some of the beginning physical things, there's not as much like verbal, blatant consent. But I did experience people just trying to kiss me. And so I literally would like push people away and say no. And that's honestly what you have to do. And then if someone's wanting to be physical in a relationship, just be like, oh, I'm not ready for that. I want to get to know you better. I really like you. I'm really into you. I'm just not chill with that right now. So obviously like affirm their feelings, say you really love the relationship, but obviously you have to respect yourself and stick to your own values. But yeah, it's really, really hard. I think that in my life, every single person I've been into has been like more rushing physical than me. And so I know, since my love language is physical touch, it's so important to me and it affects me so much. So I know I need to make sure that I don't get hurt. And part of protecting my heart growing up was not being physical with people who I didn't love and who I didn't care about. And that's like my number one advice for, especially for women who I think physical can sometimes, I think we can more easily get hurt in situations like that. So just because in general, I think that women, it like affects them more. Obviously not everyone, but, and also be really careful with opening up emotionally. I got really, really hurt beginning of college from different guys because I would like open up to someone and they wouldn't care about me. So what I did is I kind of made a list in my mind of really vulnerable parts of me that would hurt me if I shared them with someone and then we stopped talking. And so I thought through different things in my life and I was like, okay, these 15 things that are really deep and dark about my life, I'm not going to share with someone unless we're in a relationship or really closer on that level. So gradually open up to people emotionally, gradually get physical with people. There's literally no reason to rush. And if you're more gradual and slow, then you'll protect yourself and keep yourself from getting hurt and keep the other person from getting hurt. And I think this is really important. Even if you think you're like into one of your friends, I've had situations, like many situations with people I'm best friends with to this day, who one of us had feelings for the other person. Instead of like being so intense, passionate, like jumping into something, we were slow and we thought about it and we were like, oh, we don't want to be in a relationship romantically. And because we were really slow, we're not impulsive physically or emotionally, we're still best friends years later. So do not rush into stuff like that. You're going to hurt each other. You're going to lose people from your life. So be really, really slow. Don't be physical. Can I draw you? Yes! Other people, I'm trying to create merch. So if you do end up drawing me, I'll give you commission on everything sold. Yeah, I really want to start a merch line. So if you design something, absolutely, I'll pay you and stuff. Have you considered writing books on apologetics? Your videos are amazing, as it would be great to have all the information you share in a volume of sorts. I'm sorry if you already mentioned this. Yeah, I have 2 manuscripts written and publishers. it's a lot of work working with companies, and so I'm trying to take it slow. And yeah, I mean, there's certain things I can't talk about right now, but absolutely in the future, I really want to publish and stuff. And I do have a website, so I'm starting kind of different sections of my websites with different apologetics things. So, but obviously, I'm fully focusing on my videos right now. Have you watched the movie Avengers Endgame? No, I was invited to go watch it, and I was like, no, I don't want to go. Because, like I was saying at the beginning with Game of Thrones, I don't like movies or TV shows. Celibacy prevents a lot of problems. Absolutely. And I think one of the things people don't talk about is that if you're physical, like if you're having sex with someone, even just skin to skin contact, like if you're not wearing clothes and you're together, it releases oxytocin, which is a bonding hormone. And then when you have sex, it's even more oxytocin. So if you're in an unhealthy relationship, if you're being hurt by the other person, if you're in an abusive relationship, and then you're being physical with each other and you're experiencing that oxytocin, it will be so much harder to leave the relationship. Like chemically, physically, it's forcing you to stay with that person and not think logically about what's best to do in that situation. So being celibate, not being physical, wearing clothes, it makes sure that you're in a healthy relationship and that both of you are with the best person, whether that's in a relationship or not in the relationship. So I think that honestly, not getting physical with people really fast, even if you're not a Christian, even if you don't believe in saving sex for marriage, everyone was just slower physically, it would prevent a lot of heartbreak. Those are my relationship thoughts. Well, I was just hello, bedtime for me. Hi, nice to see you. I hope you sleep well. Hey, Liz, it's me, Rose. Hi. Why don't you like movies or TV shows? Do you not watch TV? So, I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I am completely detached from pop culture. I know nothing. When someone mentions a movie or a really famous actor, I've never heard of it in my life because my parents were missionaries. So we were out of the country for 5 years. When we got back into the country, a lot of stuff had happened, and it was kind of right when computers started being a thing, right when the internet happened, and we were gone during that time. So when we got back, we didn't really watch TV. Like, I think when we were really young, we did, but then when we moved, so starting when I was like 7 or 8, we didn't have TV at all. We sometimes would watch movies, but like really occasionally, like most of the Disney movies that everyone sees, I haven't even seen. We did not have internet for a long time until I was like 14. Then we got internet and we sometimes had it. But for most of growing up, I was completely unplugged. We read a lot of books. We read the news. But yeah, I don't watch TV. And to this day, a lot of people are always talking about like the media and the news and bias and all of this. And I don't even know what people are talking about because I do not watch the news. I don't read like the tips and stuff. So yeah, and when it comes to movies and TV, I'm super out of the loop. And music even, I think the only reason I know music is because I started watching YouTube in high school. So YouTube musicians would do covers of songs and stuff. So I know some music, but that's it. And then on social media, I follow some celebrities and stuff on social media. So I sort of know that, but I missed out on like for my entire life on, yeah. I graduate college in 2 weeks. What advice do you have for maintaining friendships after graduating? That is such a good question. So I think be comfortable with losing people in your life. And I know that sounds really hard, but if I'd known at the time that I wasn't going to connect with certain people, I guess it would have been sad. But what I want to share is that recently, like within the past year, I have reconnected with people I was really close to in college. So keep people's numbers. If you're ever in the same city or you see something on social media, text someone who you were really close with, who you haven't talked to in several years. Like there are several people I've like visited, like flown to visit and been talking to for hours who we didn't talk to for years and years. So just if you stop being close to someone, you may get really close to them later on. And I think really focus on people in your city and people around you and be open to making new friends as well. Something I realized like first semester of college, going from first semester to second semester, like my freshman year, I noticed that people who I was really close to, I stopped being really close to the next semester, but I was close to other people. So it's really normal in life to be really close to people at one point and then to find different friends. It's just what life is. So yeah, but I mean, I've stayed really close to people. I think the most important thing is texting people first, calling people first, FaceTiming impulsively. I think a lot of times people don't just reach out. And I know for me, I've made it a really big priority to save my money and use my money to travel and visit friends. That's been like the most important way that I've spent my money. And I think that it's really good to invest in relationships. I have an old someone posted a really creepy message, like they murdered someone. I also don't watch TV. Lizzie, you're a wicked heretic, but you're pretty. Okay, put user in timeout. I've been vegan for 2 weeks. Oh my gosh, what is it like? Any advice for shy guys on getting females? Yeah, I've made relationship advice videos on that like for years. Just Google like Lizzie's answers, shy people relationships. You're not completely detached. You know who Ariana Grande is and you're a Swiftie. Yeah. So I do know some music and stuff but that's since graduating high school and kind of becoming an adult. So I've chosen to learn some people, but did you vote in presidential Yes, I vote. I've been registered to vote since I was 18. I've been volunteering in presidential campaigns and local since I was 14. So I'm very, very involved in politics and I really love voting. I was so excited. I've been like researching politicians and government since like middle school. So I was so excited when I got to vote for the first time. And I actually vote in California now, which is so cool because I went to college in California for 4 years. So I was in the state for so long, but this past year I got to vote in California for the first time and research who my representatives are. And the referendums were so specific to where I lived. So yeah, I am not a fan of a lot of the people running for president. So I was talking about this on my Twitter, but I don't know if you guys have seen, there's a Joe Biden kind of sexual assault reel going around where he's like kissing the hair of all these children and like touching them in really weird ways. And it's not kind of like objective sexual assault where, you know, you're like touching someone like that, but it's really, really creepy how he's hugging children and like talking to them and stuff. It's just weird stuff. So I think that that's going to completely destroy his campaign. I don't know why anyone is still seriously considering him, but it's so creepy, this Joe Biden stuff. And I find it so weird that it didn't come out like when Obama and him were getting reelected. I don't know what the deal is, but it's really, really creepy. And I think it's been hard for me to emotionally process it because I really supported him and loved him. And at the time, he was making all these children and families uncomfortable. So Lizzie coming in with the deep knowledge for better, fulfilling life, vibrant inspiration. Who is your favorite band? I recently downloaded the new Imagine Dragons album. It's so good. You guys need to listen to it, like every single song. I've been obsessed with them since their first album. I actually saw them perform when I was a freshman in college. Like Pepperdine had them come perform, but their albums after that I wasn't a huge fan of, but this album, every single song, so I've been listening to it a ton. So I love Imagine Dragons. Also One Republic I really love. I like your videos very much. Lizzie, would Catholics say that Protestants are the ones who changed the 10 Commandments? I don't understand that question. Hello Liz, I'm from Corpus Christi, Texas. That's a city in Texas? What? I know Texas is really Catholic. See you later. Hi, David. Hi, Ettery. Lizzie, if I had a book written about me, would you want to have a chapter about you call my Christian YouTube friend? Yeah, that'd be so cool. Oh my gosh, if someone wrote about me in a book. How do you feel about the letter accusing Pope Francis of heresy? I'm not sure how I feel about it, wondering what your opinion is. I think that he gets so much hate from everyone. I was actually talking to my boyfriend about this today, how everyone who's not Catholic loves Pope Francis, but then a lot of people who are Catholic hate him. And I think it's honestly good. Like I saw a photo of him kissing the ring of one of the Orthodox patriarchs, and the patriarch looks so happy, like they're best friends. And so Catholics are going over here and nitpicking the Pope. Meanwhile, Pope Francis is creating reunification with the Orthodox Church. So I think that he's doing really huge things, and people are going to look back on his, I almost said presidency. People are going to look back on his papacy and just see like drastic, huge things he did for the church. So He's gotten a lot of hate, but I'm sure everyone in his position does. He has one of the hardest jobs in the world. They should so be able to get married. Who are you talking about? Gabrielle? Dude, there's no Democrats that are pro-life. There actually are. The Born Alive bill, actually 18% of Democrats in the Senate voted for it. So if you actually look at legislation and who's voting for what, you'll actually notice that there are a lot of Democrats who are pro-life. I love Imagine Dragons. Please pray for our Philippine president, Rodrigo Duterte. Our president is such an anti-Catholic and antichrist. Oh my gosh, what policy is he doing? That's shocking. Because I thought Philippines was such a Catholic country. Wow. 33% of Democrats are pro-life. Yeah. So I think 33% of Democrats, like people, but then I think in Congress, like in the Senate, 18% of the Democrats are pro-life. So that's not representative of like Democrats as people. So yeah, and it's weird because you'd think if like they're representing this group where 30% are pro-life, maybe people just aren't voting. I don't know. This is why it's so important to vote. Hi, Mitch. How are you, Mitch? Daba Yum. The letter addresses real heresies and kicked. Hi. Do you think that Pope Francis is a heretic? I don't think so. Honestly, like, people get so nitpicky about Pope Francis. And to me, wait a second, I'm going to move this chair. For me, I literally don't care that much about like nitpicky things the Pope is saying, but other than that, like I'm not concerned. You know what I mean? Like I really care about my priest and my bishop in my diocese, and people in my parish and the Catholic teachings through the years and the church fathers and the councils and papal statements. But currently what Pope Francis is saying on May 4th, 2019, it's not that concerning. You know what I mean? Like in the grand scheme of the church, it's not changing theology. So, I mean, you guys can spend your time however you want, but I don't want to spend my time nitpicking stuff that is not going to drastically affect my life, you know? Fetuses aren't babies. That's not my opinion. I'm reading that. It all depends on how you define baby. This definition. An unborn offspring of a mammal, in particular an unborn human baby, more than 8 weeks after conception. Fetus definition Latin. From Latin fetus, the young while in the womb or egg, the bearing, bringing forth, or hatching of young. Okay, so this is dictionary.com, so we shouldn't trust it, but Latin, breeding, conception, laying an egg. Okay, so I don't know anything about Latin. I mean, I know some papal documents and a lot of Catholic words in Latin, but that seems like it could be wrong. If you guys have found like Latin etymology, like link it and we can look at it together. Philippines has a Catholic church, but our Philippines president wants to kill the Filipino priest nuns. What? Is this actually going on in your country? Like, someone like that's gonna get assassinated. That's crazy. I don't understand how they're still in office. That's awful. I'm from Austin, but lived in San Antonio my whole life. What is Texas like? I feel like Texas is its own state. You know how California is so different? I think Texas is the same, where it's like, it's its own like you could be your own country, you know? Did you see the design? I went vegan for animals and that makes me so happy. Yeah. Lately there have been different vegan YouTubers who have stopped being vegan, and I think that when you focus on the animals and the torture going on, that really keeps you grounded, even if it's really hard to find vegan food and stuff. So all my exes live in Texas. I live in Texas. Lizzie, have you ever seen Stephen Wright? He's a funny comedian. I've never heard of him. Hi, Lizzie. You talk too much. I love it. Guys, this is an entire live stream where I have to talk. Like, I'm glad I talk a lot, or it would be so boring. Like, I would just be sitting here reading your comments. You know what I mean? Who is the most popular YouTuber? PewDiePie. I love PewDiePie. I've been being a vegetarian more than vegan since Christmas. Everyone from California moves here? Really? Texas is awesome. Austin is basically California and Texas. Wow. I've only been in Texas once. I did this 3-year missions thing. I mean, it wasn't for 3 total years, but it was 3 different summers for 3 years. And the headquarters was in Texas. So we would come to Texas after the missions trip and kind of do like a rewind, not a rewind, but kind of a, what is it called? Like we would meet up with the headquarters and talk about our experience and stuff. So that was in Texas. So that's why this is a giant sweater. Okay, guys. So in all my intros, I'm wearing this red thing. And in my like Pepperdine dorm tour, this is my actual shirt from the video. You are so beautiful. Have you released a book yet about your conversion? Would love to buy a copy. Everyone keeps asking me this question and I can't talk about it yet, which is really sad. So someday I can talk about this. Do you think Logan Paul is gay? Because a lot of people say he is. I don't care. I don't watch Logan Paul. Lizzie, what is your favorite nail polish color? I don't have any pink and blue though. I love like ice blue and I also love just hot pink, regular pink. It's because of the thing he said at the start of the year. Do you think you have to be conservative politically to be Catholic, or can you be progressive as well? I think that there are certain things you have to believe to be Catholic, like you have to be against abortion, but when it comes to policy, like capital punishment, prison systems, should they be corporate or through the government? What is Social Security like? You know what I mean? Education, there's so many different political issues that are kind of ambiguous, that have nothing to do with specific Catholic teaching. So, I mean, to be Catholic, you can want a lot of regulations, you can want less regulations, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many different political issues. Is that a gold necklace you're wearing? Because I like it. Yeah, I wear this necklace so much. This one or a diamond stud. Our president was a Catholic when he was in high school, but he's not Catholic anymore. This is about the Philippines, not about the US. Trump was never Catholic. The first lady was Catholic though, or is. It's ambiguous because but he's not Catholic anymore because he was sexually molested while he was in a confession when he was in high school. That would leave you scarred for life. Wow. What do you think about the carnivore diet? I think that the carnivore diet is amazing for animals like tigers who require animal meat to live. Humans don't. Very intrigued with Lizzie's easygoing conversation on topics people would suddenly be quick to argue. Her wonderful attitude avoids away the negative. Yeah. I experience this constantly in life, where people are saying things or doing things where they look annoyed, or they're saying things intentionally because they're mad or trying to get a reaction out of you. And I'm always like, and then it just immediately kills the bad vibes, you know? Lizzie, did you see the designs I sent you? No. Did you send new designs? I'll look on Instagram. I have so many messages I was going through today. How does someone become a Christian? You have to go through RCIA, which is the right to become a Christian, where you learn all about the church, and then you will be baptized, and then you'll make a confession of faith, and then you will get sealed with oil, and then you'll become a Christian. How does someone, okay, Melania is still a Catholic. Okay, I mean, like once you're baptized Catholic, you're Catholic for life. So she's always going to be Catholic. But I was saying, if she's a practicing Catholic, like does she go to mass and stuff? But obviously, like, she is Catholic for life. But I don't know if she goes to mass all the time. What do you think about gay people? Just like how they were saying, is Logan Paul gay? And I was like, I don't care. That's how I feel too. I don't really interact with people's sexuality ever. So who is your patron saint? Irenaeus. He was someone who destroyed the Gnostic heresy in the early church. What is your current stance? Okay, what is your current stance on gay people? This is what you guys like. Becoming Christian only requires accepting Jesus as your Lord and Savior. No, that's heresy. That is a lie. That's not what were you gonna say? Catholic Netflix shows or movies? What's your favorite? You guys are asking the same questions that other people asked. Do you guys have multiple accounts? What does it mean to not interact with people's sexuality? To not engage in sexual activities. So I've never engaged with anyone in any type of sexual activity. So I've never interacted with someone's sexuality. So when someone's like, how do you feel about this person who is gay, straight, asexual, bisexual? It literally doesn't affect my life at all. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean. I love how full your brows look. Thank you. I do my brows every day. Like, I fill them in because I have no eyebrows. I mean, I do, but since I'm blonde, they don't really show up. Okay, enough of this tomfoolery. What is tomfoolery? Off to do Rosary Night in America. God bless. God bless. Bye. Will you get Disney Plus streaming service when it comes out? Never heard of that, but I don't plan to. Oh, I thought you meant you've never talked to someone about their sexuality. No, 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 no. I mean, I have. I talked to a lot of you guys about that. A lot of you guys ask questions. I wish I were still a virgin. It's so awesome. You're strong enough to save it for marriage. Yes. I would say it's really easy, though. I heard this interview with some Olympic runner or something, and she was like, going to the Olympics was, she was like staying a virgin until marriage was harder than getting to the Olympics in her sport. And my mom was reading that to me when I was like 14, and I was like, wow, this is going to be really hard to not have sex. And it's actually been really easy. And I was talking about this earlier with not being physically rushed in relationships. So if you are not physical with people you're not in a relationship with, and you're only in a relationship with other people who don't want to have sex, it's really easy to not have sex. Like, it's the easiest thing I've ever done. It's not hard at all. So just don't be in relationships with people who want to have sex if you don't want to have sex. Like, it's really simple. So I'm no troll. Yeah, of course you're not a troll. Is someone trying to block you? Sex was anticlimactic. Lizzie? I'm having a hard time getting over this girl who rejected me about a year ago. Any advice? Talk to new people. I'm not at all saying, like, hook up with people, get in new relationships. But I think that just talking to new people and getting to know people of the opposite sex who you're sort of attracted to, just talking to other people is a good way to get over someone. Because then it's like you're not just thinking of this one person, but it's like, oh, I met this other person who's also really fun. She understands this part of my personality that Sarah didn't understand. You know what I mean? And find new best friends as well. What is your opinion? So basically just talk to people and surround yourself by people to distract you. Hey Lizzie, starting a new audio program soon. Hope to have you on sometime soon. Later. Yeah, sure. DM me on Twitter and I'd love to be on. We can do a phone call. Is this week you're supposed to meet Trevor's family? Yeah! I'm so excited. I'll tell you guys what it's like. Some of them have watched my YouTube channel, so they've already met me. And on my YouTube channel, I'm very, very intense and over happy. So I feel like who I'm actually like is very chill. So if they can put up with that, then I'm actually like, you know what I mean? Have you studied the messy science behind evolution? Not a fan of creationism at all. Lizzie, I'm going to do a DNA test to see my ancestry. I'm so curious about my family beginnings. That's so cool. Would you ever consider doing a DNA test? Yes, I'm going to, probably sometime this year. I'm trying to do a sponsored video with Ancestry.com, so I keep badgering them. Do you watch scary movies like the Conjuring series? I haven't heard of that, but I've watched Thai horror movies. They're really good because it's like psychological horror. In America, it's just like blood, murder. But in Thai horror movies, it's very like psychological. Ugh, it's so good. I'll take that as a no. Can you make a video about why the Eucharist can't be consumed in a state of mortal sin? Sure. What do you want me to call the video? I mean, I made a video. I guess I can make a whole video about that. I mean, it's just like reading one Bible verse that Paul says, you know. Now I need advice on about people talking to other people because, okay, you may think that gay people impact you at all, but having allies within the Catholic community is important. I feel like I am an ally within the Catholic community. So many people message me who are Catholic and who are gay or bi or trans, and they tell me their stories and how they've been suicidal and want to be part of the Catholic Church. And I really, really support these people and individually message them back. So from your perspective, I might not be talking about it, but I do personal ministry with people every single day. So, I mean, you can come up with whatever definition you want about ally, but when it comes to actually personally knowing and loving these people, I talk to these people one-on-one. So it's whatever. It's kind of like when we were talking about abortion and people are like, is it a person? Is it not a person? Everything comes down to definitions. Hi, Lizzie. Do you now think that ICOC is a cult, or do you still like the ICOC, the International Church of Christ? I think by definition it's a cult, but I feel like that's the center of this video. Everything is about definitions. I think if we just defined everything, we would find that we agree on a lot more than we actually do. Lizzie, your live streams are getting me through a tough part of my life right now. Thank you. Oh, I'm so happy. The Pope hardly sleeps. Yeah, it'd be the most stressful job. I'm sure he has a huge team of people, but it's like thing. Like he's constantly having to see people and talk to people. Well, we know our loved ones in heaven. Absolutely. We'll still have our identity and our soul. And I think we'll have our memories. So yeah, we'll know people and stuff. I love you. I love you, Rayan. Why does the Pope have dark circles under his eyes? Yeah, he must be really, really tired. Wouldn't you be? Wouldn't a spiritual person want their sleep? I'm sure he needs to stay healthy so he can keep being Pope, but Lizzie, then he calls the Catholic Church the most hypocritical institution of the Philippines. Well, I'm sure when he's talking about the Catholic Church, he's talking about the people in the Catholic Church, which absolutely, but which way did you vote in my Twitter poll, Lizzie, the atheist or the Catholic? I guess you didn't see. I voted, so he's talking about a Twitter poll, and he was asking, would you rather have an atheist president who agrees with Catholic policies or a Catholic president who agrees with non-Catholic policies? And I said the atheist who agreed with Catholic policies. Unless someone is being like murdering people and raping people, I genuinely don't care about their personal life or their personal beliefs. I care about how they're going to govern the country and their specific policy decisions. Does that make sense? And I think a lot of people care intensely about someone's personal life, and like I literally don't care. Obviously, when it comes to being a leader, if you have these horrible things you're doing that are atrocious, you can't be a role model for the country. But in general, I care more about the policy. So is still weird for you to pray to Virgin Mary or the saints? No, I'm used to it now. Hi, Lizzie. I want to know, how do I refute a Mormon at work? They told me that Catholics are not saved. So there's a YouTube channel. Let me link it to you. So I'm going to link it in the live chat, and it's someone who used to be Mormon, who now I think is Orthodox. And so the channel name is Dave Bartowski. So I'm going to link the channel in the live stream. You can go to the channel, and he specifically does apologetics against the Mormon church. So I just linked it. So I hope that helps. You're welcome. I can't help but notice on your old videos, your brows were so thin like mine when I was in high school. I got called out for having nearly no brows. Okay, it was so trendy 10 years ago to have really little eyebrows, like little tadpoles. But now, and I used to tweeze my eyebrows a little bit, and I hadn't for years. And so I remember like 8 months ago, I was like, oh, I haven't tweezed my eyebrows in a while. I shouldn't. I did like I used to, and I hated it. So now different eyebrows are in style, right? I think it's so interesting how makeup trends change constantly. Like I used to wear blush every single day, and I haven't in like a year because it's not trendy anymore, you know? Why don't you have a puppy? Ugh, I hate dogs. I'm really sorry to say that, and I think that it's great that some people, they get a lot of enjoyment and satisfaction and happiness out of having a dog, but I personally don't like dogs. I think it's amazing if it's a dog, like if someone is blind, they need a dog to help them see. If it's like helping find drugs in situations like that, I think it's great. And I'm not like against dogs, but I would never want a dog as a pet. And I think I'm just really obsessed with being clean. But the idea, and see, this is why cats are different. So cats are indoor animals. So dogs walk outside. So my family growing up, we would always take off our shoes when we walked into the house. And I know some people are not like that, so you might not see this as a negative thing, but dogs will like walk around on the dirt and on the ground and then walk into the house and then walk onto your bed and inside your sheets. So imagine if you were like hiking in the mud and then you walked all around the house and walked on your parents' or your sister's bed and on their sheets. Wouldn't you get so angry? And so why are we okay with it when it's an animal? And maybe when your dog walks in, you wipe its paws, but I've never seen anyone do that. So that's my issue with dogs. It's just the cleanliness thing. You love cats though, right? Yes, I love cats. And I think as well, dogs, you have to do a lot of maintenance. And I think that's good. Like some people, it's good to get out of the house, to walk dog. But I'm someone who I'm pretty active. I don't need a reason to go running. And so I really like that a cat can just do its own thing and you're not like responsible to constantly take the cat out to go to the bathroom. Like the cat does its thing. You don't have to worry about the cat. My friend just got confirmed. Then he told me he wanted to be Orthodox. I mean, if you really want to research into that, there's so many options. And I think that when it comes to, because Catholic and Orthodox are so similar, right? So you're just researching on the role of the Pope and on the history. So I think that you should be like, you know what? If you're right, I want to be Orthodox. And so you guys should just read together and research together and, find books to read church things, and then talk about it like every week and figure it out together instead of letting him kind of go about on his own journey. Does that make sense? Because let's say Catholicism is wrong and the Orthodox Church is right. I would stop being Catholic. I would become Orthodox. You know what I mean? If I like came across evidence that the role of the Pope, that the Catholic Church completely changed it and it's different than what Jesus wanted. If that was true, I would be Orthodox like immediately. And so I think if you're open to being wrong and you read into the sources with your friend, then either you'll become Orthodox or he'll or she'll become Catholic again. So yeah, just do a research journey instead of condemning it. Be like, let's look into all of it. I want to know what's true as well. I love cats. Me and my little Neo are inseparable. Aww. Are Roman Catholics in communion with the Eastern Orthodox? No, but I was saying like 20 minutes ago how Pope Francis just recently took a picture like kissing the ring of one of the Orthodox patriarchs, so that he hangs out with the patriarchs quite a bit. So we're really working on relations, and I think that Russia's kind of mad at everyone right now, their Orthodox Church, but when it comes to the ecumenical patriarch in Constantinople, Bartholomew the First, and Pope Francis, they are on really good terms. And recently, the Catholic Church said that Orthodox Christians are allowed to receive Catholic Eucharist, which their church says they're not allowed to, but it's kind of a ceremonial thing where they're like, you can be in communion with us, you're fully Christian. So in that sense, we're sort of in communion. But I mean, obviously we're not in communion, but I think we'll become in communion this century. Just so much has happened with relations and getting along. And there's so many Eastern Catholic churches that literally, like their whole liturgy is Orthodox and they're just under the Pope, and they can have married priests, they have their own diocese, they do whatever they want. So I think that it'd be really easy to reunite. Many Orthodox believe that Catholics have a different view on original sin and purgatory, which is incorrect. Absolutely. And that's the thing. So I have a lot of Orthodox subscribers, and they told me so many things about Catholic theology. And I was like, oh my gosh, I could never be Catholic. I disagree with this. This is wrong. And then when I actually learned the Catholic position, I was like, oh my gosh, these Orthodox people literally don't understand the Catholic position. And so that's the thing. It's kind of like how I made a video, like 10 lies Protestants believe about Catholics. I could make a video, 10 lies Orthodox Christians believe about Catholics, because they don't understand the theology either. Do you follow YouTuber? No, Rocking MRE? What do you think about the Venezuelan president problem? I don't have a view on it. I love you, Lizzie. Watching your live stream makes me so happy. I'm so happy too. I haven't live streamed in several weeks, so it feels so good to be back. How can you explain original sin? So the way St. Augustine describes sin is that it's not an active force that's in like a fight with God. It's not like a dualistic thing. But sin is just a lack of good. So original sin, it's not this like actual like physical stain on everyone's soul, but it's like a lack of goodness. Does that make sense? But honestly, I do not understand original sin in a intense, complex way. I'm honestly like beginning to understand it, so I cannot explain it very well, you know? Lizzie, President Duerto said to the priest, "Your God is not my God, your God is stupid." I don't understand why a president would go after a religion that a lot of people are. You know what I mean? Like, if you disagree with someone's, like, if President Trump just came out and was like, I hate Protestantism. I mean, why would you do that? Even if you genuinely hate someone's religion, just get along and don't go after people. I don't think it's a good way to get reelected, right? That's weird. I was looking at pictures of Divine Liturgy from an online Orthodox church, and there were so many babies. There's babies in a lot of types of churches. Papist, bruh, I think Lizzie already mentioned Duerte. Have you been on EWTN? No, but one of my subscribers like wrote in and they're like, have Lizzie, and they said that they're going to reach out to me this year, so we'll see. I think you could kind of dismiss Duerte if he just said offensive things and was popular because of it, but his solution to drug problems is to execute any drug user. I think that we should execute people bringing in drugs if it's a certain amount, but not people doing drugs, because that's kind of like an addiction or a mental illness almost. So they need to just go to a hospital, but people who are actually bringing in drugs, like in Singapore, they execute people who bring in drugs to the country. And I've actually been to Singapore, and you know how when you go into a new country and you're filling out your information for their customs, they had in capital letters, bold red print, I forget the exact wording, but it was like, bring in drugs, death, like on their customs. So they do not want drugs. And I think that's really good, because in the US, if you're trading drugs, oh, you might get caught and you might go to prison and you can, but in Singapore, it's like, I will get physically tortured and murdered if I bring in drugs to the island. Maybe I'll think of another crime to commit. So I think that we need to have really harsh sentences. Lizzie, my old friends are reaching out to me. How iconic you were talking about it earlier. Yeah. And you should reach out to your old friends too, because I think a lot of people are waiting on other people to talk to them or reach out to them, but always reach out to people. The only thing that would make me watch the news is if Lizzie ran for president. I would hate that. I would never want to be president. Ugh. It's just the most stressful job. And do you see how all the presidents age so much? What's your height? Sorry. I tried to ask the question and no response. I guess I will look elsewhere. There are so many questions, guys. If you want me to see your question, if you donate money, then I automatically see the question. Like, it goes in a different slot. So if you really want your question answered, make a donation. I would be so grateful, guys. I'm wondering, what's your height? I found out I'm 2 inches shorter than I thought. I was 4'9". I'm 5'7" to 5'8". but I wear heels, so I'm 5'9". Um, what is a militant vegan? So I think a lot of people have these cliches that all vegans are like, meat is murder, you're evil, towards people who are not vegan and are constantly like showing them factory farm footage and saying they're an evil person. And so I think that I've tried, like on my YouTube channel, to just present it as a really beautiful lifestyle rather than kind of like guilt tripping people. Lizzie 2024. Trump has a wig. No. Do you guys really think he has a wig? I don't think so. Lizzie, hello from Colombia. Hi, how are you? There's a guy I really liked in my high school. Which of the world's great churches or cathedrals would you like to visit? I want to go to Guadalupe in Mexico so much. Mexico is so big though. I don't even know all I would do if I went there. There'd be so much to do. I was going to Spain since April 2019, and I saw my Philippine national hero statue in Madrid. His name is Jose Rizal. They have a statue that's so cool. Which of the world's, oh, we already answered that. Best apps to read the news. I read on New York Times. It's like $10 a month for a subscription. Actually, it might be like $2 a month. It's really cheap. Is it okay not to go to church as long as you believe? It's a mortal sin to not go to church every week if you're an original Christian, if you're Catholic. A priest I know actually supports full drug legalization. I'm actually with him since the drug war never really solved anything. So I think that you're viewing it very black and white. It's like heroin is legal and bringing in heroin is legal, or everyone who smokes weed goes to jail for life. You know what I mean? Like there's two different extremes of the situation. And so I think that drugs can still be illegal, but when you find someone who's addicted to a drug, you don't get sent to jail, you go to a rehabilitation center. And maybe you meet up, like, you know how you'll do a parole officer? Maybe we should have parole for drug addicts, except for they're reaching out to them and helping them come back to treatment. So, and we still need people to go to jail who are bringing in drugs. Like that's totally different. 5'8", you look a lot taller than 5'8". I'm only like 5'7", and I'm one of the shortest people in my school. Wow. Okay, but you're a guy, so guys tend to be taller. Why? How do you guys know how tall I look? Because of my pictures and stuff? Is there a difference about Trinity between Protestants and Catholics? Yes. So I'm going to go get a sweater, guys, because I'm really cold, but I'm going to keep talking. So obviously, there are 30,000 Protestant churches, and you don't want to conflate because there's so many different theologies within Protestantism. When I was a Protestant, I actually believed in this view called Arianism, where I didn't think that Jesus was fully God. And that was a heresy in the early church, but I believed that as a Protestant. But most Protestants don't believe in Arianism, so it honestly depends on what kind of Protestant you are. Do you guys like this sweater? It's like so cozy. It's one of my favorite sweaters. This is Yvonne, I've seen your videos from long ago, and I'm so happy to see you grow in your faith. Thanks for being so inspiring. Oh, I'm so happy you're still here after so long. Mimi Belta, what is your question? She's a nice height. You can tell by your arm length. Okay, so I have this inside joke. I think I can talk about this. I'm not that scared of this person. So I have kind of a, one of my stalker type people on my YouTube channel has made like a lot of videos about my arm length. Like if you look up Lizzie's Answers arms, like there's a lot of videos about my arm. Have you watched the Nun movie? No. It's a horror movie, but very pro-Catholic. It says Mary points the way. Like I said at the beginning, I genuinely don't watch movies, guys. Hey Lizzie, I've been watching your videos for years, and I'm just wondering, how do you start praying with your boyfriend that is not Catholic? So I've actually met a lot of people who pray with their boyfriends who are not Catholic, and I think you could just do memorized prayers together. So every night you could do an Our Father, you could do a Glory Be, you could do a Hail Mary, and you could just do it a certain time every night and pray together. And I think since it's a memorized prayer, it's easy to say together. I think that extemporaneous prayer could be like a lot, or rosary. Obviously that's really intense because it's so meditational and stuff, but if you just do a simple prayer, and if you go to the Laudate app, I'm going to type it in how to spell it, like LAU 8DATE. I just typed the Laudate iPhone app. It has a lot of memorized prayers. So you could just look up a prayer and say the prayer together just once a day. And it's something really simple that's like easy and that's not too intense. And I think that he would definitely do it with you. I know so many people who their boyfriend's not Catholic or their boyfriend is not Protestant and they still pray together. So Vincent, thanks for the donation. Lizzie, my birthday is May 15th. Can we video chat again? Yeah, DM me on Instagram. I don't know, May 15th. I don't know where I'll be on May 15th, but I think I'll be back in... Let me look, because I'm doing... Let's see. One of my friends is watching How Would You Interact with Someone's Sexuality. I thought that was a pretty... like obvious thing when I'm like, I don't interact with someone's sexuality. I feel like sexuality is very personal. Okay, okay, I'm actually doing a conference on the 15th, well, on the 14th, so I'll be traveling that day, but on the 16th or 17th is good, so DM me and we'll talk about that. Your sweater looks like something Mabel Peens would wear. Not an insult. The Lord's Prayer is like a template on how to pray. I struggled with prayer, so I do an Our Father and Hail Mary every night before I go to sleep. So I was actually reading the Didache the other day, which I've read the Didache before, but it's so good. And in the Didache, it specifically says that as Christians, we should pray the Our Father prayer 3 times a day. And so I've tried to do that, but I keep forgetting. Maybe I should set a timer on my phone. But if we all say the Our Father when we wake up, maybe when we're eating lunch and before we go to bed, we'll be like the early church. That's what the apostles taught. I have that app, never thought of that. Thank you. Yeah. And you could even have your boyfriend like pick a prayer to pray. You know what I mean? Like if he's joining in. Lizzie, what should I do? I love the Virgin Mary and I love praying to her, but my ICOC church won't let me go to a Catholic church. They don't want to lose me. Oh, so you're saying the ICOC is a cult because they won't let you go to a Catholic? Is your family involved? Because if your family will ditch you if you leave, that's really, really scary. But I mean, if they're manipulating you, why do you want them in your life? I mean, that's really harsh. But if you're literally in a cult environment, you need to get out. You did not just pronounce Mabel as Mabel. What is it? I've never heard of it. Didache is the best. Such a Catholic book from the earliest church history. I'll actually link for you guys, since I always say things and you guys probably don't know where to look them up. Didache New Advent. So I'm going to link for you guys. And let's see. Have a really important announcement, guys. I'm going to announce in a video soon, but I'm getting involved in this pro-life organization, which I'm really scared about talking about on my YouTube channel, but it's going to be a big step for me. No, my family is not in the ICOC church I go to. That's really good because I've heard with a lot of cults that like the family will stop talking to you. So THICC. What is THICC? By knowing you turned from Baptist to Catholic, my rosary doubts all went away. Because you were praying for me with Mary intervention. So many people prayed to Mary for me to be Catholic. I was so annoyed when I was thinking about converting and everyone was like, praying for you, praying to Mary for you. And I was like, I hate Mary. I hate this. So now I'm really grateful because I'm like, oh, like she was reaching out to me when I hated her, you know? The sweater looks familiar. I feel like I saw it in one of your videos. It was in my sexual temptation. What was it called? Catholic sexual temptation? Some video. Christian sexual temptation. Yeah. I'll link that for you guys too. I made the video way too saturated because I was gone from my California apartment for the longest time. And then I made the video so blinding. So I'll link the video. And you know how there's the 2 bars on the waterfall? Oh my gosh, the video looks so saturated on this computer. Okay. I assume you had 3 siblings, but now from your Facebook video, I know you only have 1. Yeah, why did you think I have 3 siblings? I think because I post videos with my best friends and I say that we're sisters, so maybe that was why. My mom is a non-practicing Catholic. Mabel Peens? I'm just kidding. Mabel Peens is from Gravity Falls on Disney Channel. I'm so old, guys. Is that a new Disney Channel show? When I was growing up, it was the Miley Cyrus one and the Selena Gomez. Do you think that I've never heard of it? I'm getting so lazy to stand up straight, guys. Lizzie, do you know any good books on discerning God's will in your life in the Catholic Church? I have the best book. It's called the Bible. And then there's another book, and it's called the Catechism, which is the interpretation of the Bible. Lizzie, okay. I made a video recently talking about the whole God's plan for your life thing, and I'm really against this idea of God having one specific plan for everyone's life. I think it's very individualistic and imperialist and kind of.
You might be wondering, how does Grammarly work?
I'm so glad there's an ad on my video. That's so nice. YouTube gets rid of ads so often. It's so awful. I liked my video. I talk about kind of halfway through the whole God's plan for your life. So I think it's really important to care about the posture of your heart rather than the specific things you're doing, right? Because if you're going into a situation and it's for the wrong reasons, even if it could serve God, if your heart is not in the right place, that's not going to be a good thing for your life. God cares so much about your interior, not your exterior. So just focus on staying close to God and saying the Our Fathers 3 times a day. And then wherever God leads you, you'll be serving him in. It doesn't matter as much the specifics. Lizzie, I think my mom was still here. You and her would be friends. You're such a nice person. You remind me of her. Oh, I'm a returned Catholic, actually, and I have to say it took me a while to unlearn the falsehoods that were ingrained in me, like statues as idolatry. Yeah, it's so wild because you can intellectually accept something. Like I said in front of my church and my friends that I agree with everything the Catholic Church teaches, but then emotionally, sorry, this is moving. I know you guys hate it, but emotionally, it's really hard to accept things. You're doing a great job by answering questions. That is why your YouTube name Lizzie's Answers. I know. Right now, I'm working on several videos. I'm working on a video talking about my experience going to Orthodox Easter. So you guys are really into Philippines politics. Keep talking to each other about it. Thoughts on Father Gabriel Amorth? Never heard of that. I'm very, very not into Catholic news just because I think that there's a lot of drama that happens within Catholic political things. And just like I was saying, where I literally don't care, like, oh, the Pope said this, which is a heresy. Like, great, you guys can talk about that. I don't care. I'm not going to spend all of my time going into nitpicky things about huge church politics that do not affect my theology at all. Good evening. Hi, Angry Vegan. Oh my gosh, your name is Angry Vegan? Because I literally, we were talking earlier about like militant vegan and what it means to be a militant vegan. So you're just kind of poking fun at the stereotypes. Lizzie, do you remember my friend Josh? Yes. Duarte is always waiting to challenge the Pope. Duarte would wage war on Canada. Don't mess with Okay, why would you wage war on Canada? Canada is such a chill country. They just like... Will you ever lecture? Yeah, I do lecture. I've lectured before. I lectured on Easter. Oh my gosh. I am not an insecure person. It's so hard for me to be nervous. I'm so chill and confident about things. But my heart was beating so fast when I went up to lecture on Easter because there were so many visitors at the church. So there were all these people I didn't know who it was kind of like this is their one impression of Catholicism for the year of our parish. So I didn't look up, and I think my voice was shaking. It was such a sad, embarrassing moment in my life. So I felt really bad. I feel like my priest is going to be like, okay, Lizzie's not going to lecture for a while, so we'll see. Are you coming to Kentucky? I'm in Tennessee right now, so I'm kind of close to Kentucky. I was actually born in Kentucky, guys. Going to Catholic Divine Liturgy this week, the Catholic Divine Liturgy, so you mean like Eastern Divine Liturgy. Any advice? Don't wear lipstick. So I was actually reading this website of the Orthodox Church I was at last week, and they had the most amazing church website. And I'll actually link it for you guys because this is like the best website I've ever come across. Church website. Most church websites are horrible. I feel like I should make a video roasting church websites. That'd actually be really good. Okay, guys, send me links on Twitter of your church website if it's really bad. Okay, I'm linking the website I'm talking about, the Holy Trinity Nashville. So you guys should go to the website. They have a lot of articles like FAQs explaining the entire Orthodox faith. And they have kind of rules for coming to divine liturgy. And they're like, don't wear lipstick because you'll like kiss the icon. And so imagine if you have lipstick and you're like kissing the icon. And actually, I decided permanently that now when I go to mass, I will never put anything on my lips. Because I've always kind of thought going in, like, oh, what if I get, like, stuff on the thing we're all drinking out of, right? And I have always been, like, half-half about it. But I think now I'm never going to wear, like, lipstick or lip gloss or anything going to mass. I'll put it on after mass. So I think that we should all do that. As women, we should all agree, or men, we should all agree to not wear lipstick to mass or divine liturgy. So I know a guy asked that, but the church can't contradict itself. As Catholics, we face a difficult situation when it comes to politics. I prefer President Trump. GOP ideas are closer to our faith, but many Catholics attack me for supporting him. What would you do? I really love debating people and talking about different ideas. That's kind of how I became Catholic. I was willing to be wrong, and I wanted to listen to oh, my computer's about to die. I was willing to listen to the other side, and so I was willing to listen to the other side. So if your friends disagree with you, just talk to them about it and be like, why do you disagree with this? And they'll be like, I want this environmental regulation because I read that this gives people cancer and Trump wants to get rid of that regulation. And then you can be like, oh my gosh, I'll read this article on it. And like, maybe they're making it up. Maybe this actually doesn't give you cancer, but maybe it does give them cancer. You know what I mean? So just talk about issue to issue rather than being like, you're evil, you support Trump, you're racist, misogynistic, and homophobic. Rather than just dealing with that kind of vibe, be like, oh, like what specific policy do you disagree with? And then just talk about the policy. And I think that they'll change their mind on some things. You'll change your mind on some things, but it's not black and white because there's so many different issues that a politician agrees with. And I think most people, when they vote for a candidate, they disagree with them on some things, right? I mean, why would you perfectly agree with one party on everything? That doesn't make sense. I'm probably voting for Evan McMullen. He's a Mormon, which is similar to Catholicism. How is Mormonism similar to Catholicism? Please tell me. Hi, Lizzie. I'm from Canada. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. I love Canada. I've been several times. I would move there. Hi, Lizzie. Oh my gosh, do you watch, can you guys make donations so that I don't, it's like, do. It's so hard to see, guys. Lizzie, do you remember the first time you saw my comment on your Instagram? No. I agree. Not enough people focus on the actual issues. Yeah. And I was saying with, so someone was saying like an hour ago how their friend just became Catholic but is wanting to become Orthodox. And they're like, what do I do? And I was like, maybe you're wrong. Maybe all of us should be Orthodox. Maybe Catholicism has the wrong view of the church authority, right? And so just read together, like read the opposing side, ask people like, oh, what did you find that's wrong in Catholicism? Oh, why do you think Trump is wrong? You know what I mean? Like talk about the actual issues. Unless you're the candidate, most people disagree with them on at least one issue. Yeah, obviously. Mormonism and Catholicism are conservative politically. Luther would love Mormons. I think that if Luther learned about Mormon theology, he'd be like, maybe I should reconsider. Didn't you used to be pro-choice? Why aren't you anymore? Do you think you could be pro-choice and be Christian Catholic? I'm going to make a video on abortion soon. I was blown away by the priest and his preaching. Lizzie, what are your thoughts on tattoos? So I have 5 tattoos on my body. I went really manic kind of like a week ago, and I haven't really talked to anyone about this. I'm just kidding, guys. I don't have any tattoos, but tattoos are fine. In the Old Testament, part of their law, they were against tattoos, but they were also against shrimp. So it's not going into the new covenant, you know? What do you think best supports the role of the Pope? Mormons are against abortion, gay marriage, and probably contraception. Could you video chat me? The Mormon Church used to be against contraception, but recently they released it. So that's an interesting thing to see which church hasn't changed and which has changed. Sorry for asking this again. My connection went dark for a few seconds, so I don't know if you answered. But do you still watch and follow Jacqueline Glenn? Also, thoughts on her now as a Catholic. So I still watch her videos. I realized pretty recently that she actually used to be Catholic. Like she wasn't, I don't think she was that into it, but she grew up Catholic and went to a Catholic school. So I thought that was really interesting. And she had a horrible time in her Catholic school. So yeah, I'm going to watch some of her videos. I watch a lot of people. I admire your ability to have such an open mind and heart, yet still stand strong in what you believe. Oh, I love you. Are Catholics against contraception? So 90% of Catholics use contraception, but they're not supposed to. So our objective teaching authority says that is a mortal sin. So we're supposed to be against it. Does it make sense from a religious perspective that people should be vegan because Adam and Eve were originally vegan in the Garden of Eden? Yes! Right. Tweeted you our parish Google account, tweeted you our parish website. Thank you for the donation. I will include that in my video. This is a real thing. I'll announce it on my social media. I want to make a video where I roast different church websites that are really bad websites. And I'll say everything wrong with it. Zine John, thank you so much for the donation. If you have a question, I'll answer it. That's the whole point of donations. Obviously, you guys can just be sweet, but if you have a question and you want me to see it and you do a donation, I see it in a different column, so I'm able to answer it. Because a lot of people are like, why are you ignoring my question? And I'm not ignoring it. I just literally don't see your question. What is your favorite movie? I really liked Harry Potter. I really liked Hunger Games. Zine Jan, thank you for the donation. Thank you. That's so generous. $20. Lizzie, do you still keep up with Tana Mojo? Yes, I actually do watch her videos. I don't support a lot of her ethics, but I genuinely like her personality, and she's bipolar. I have to support people who are bipolar, right? We're so similar, except for not at all. Do you believe in common sense sex ed or abstinence-only sex ed? So we live in a non-Christian nation in that we're not a theocracy. So I think that we need to be practical, and absolutely, I think we should have sex education in schools. I think that people get really mad if we're teaching about contraception in school because they're like, oh my gosh, we're leading our children astray. But if you're a parent or you're a church, you should be talking about sexuality at your youth group, in your Bible class, in homilies, in confession, in family discussions. And so if you're upset about what they're teaching in public schools, if you're upset that's going to brainwash your children, you just need to talk to your children more. I remember growing up, when I was in middle school, my mom would have so many conversations with us about the meaning of sex and relationships, like all the time. And we would talk about it at church as well, and Bible verses. And every day we would come home from school and have family dinners. Even when my sister and I were doing musicals and plays and cross-country practice and ballet, we always sat down and had family dinner every single night. And we talked about what we learned at school. And if what we learned at school was way off, or if we went to church and the sermon was way off theologically, we would talk about it and debate it as a family. And so I think when it comes to things being taught in public school, if you really think your child is going to go to school and learn about IUDs and condoms and go have sex with people because of that class, that's a problem. These things need to be taught in schools, you know? What's the difference between Mass and Divine Liturgy? I thought they were the same. So it's just different terminology that people use. So en massa or en massi, I suck at pronouncing things. It just means go forth. So it's the term that we use for when we meet together as a Catholic church. But technically Mass is the liturgy of the word and the liturgy of the Eucharist, so it is a divine liturgy. But Orthodox, when they're going to church, they don't call it going forth Mass, they call it divine liturgy. So it's just how they call it. I wonder, are any of you Byzantine Catholic? What do you call it? I just say going to church because I have a lot of non-Catholic people in my life, so it's easier to just be like, we're going to church. If I'm around Catholics, then I'll say Mass sometimes, but especially if you're talking about the Orthodox Church with the average American, if you're like, I'm going to Divine Liturgy or at Divine Liturgy yesterday, they'll have no idea what you're talking about. So, Lizzie, I need to go out to a church. Any advice for reaching out? You need to go to a church, go to your nearest Catholic church and go through RCIA. And you don't even have to join. You just can listen to the classes. It's really interesting. It's like watching theology videos on YouTube, but in real life where you can ask questions. It's so fun. So you just can listen. And it's a cool way to meet people too. I've met so many people in RCIA. Mass and communion are the same. No, because Eucharist is one part of it, but then there's also the scripture part. What are your thoughts on divine mercy versus justice? Oh my gosh, there was a homily on this a week ago that I totally disagreed with. So, oh my gosh, my cat just fell down and knocked over the lamp. This is so, I hope it's not broken. So, mercy in Catholicism and in Orthodox, we constantly say, Kyrie eleison. Well, in Orthodox, it's like, Lord have mercy, Kyrie eleison, like 100 times throughout the service. But in Catholicism, we have Lord have mercy, Christ have mercy, or we're singing it. You know what I mean? And we're literally asking God to heal us. So it's not like God's punishing us, but it's asking God to heal us. And justice in the New Testament is the same as the Hebrew word for righteousness. So it just means like living in a way that is good. It doesn't mean punishing people. So I think mercy and justice, we see it through this post-Enlightenment legal context, which is the way the Protestant reformers interpreted Catholicism through this legal context, and they completely messed it up for everyone. But these original words, we literally don't understand. Ryan Petty, oh my gosh, so you do have your actual username. Oh my gosh, you're literally the oh my gosh, so literally I was in Mass with this person a week ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, I got in a debate with these people, and it's literally the same person. This is how much I don't read your usernames, guys. Why do you base all your bipolar facts on what bipolar is? I think I'm the second Adam they spoke about in the book of Romans and came to that conclusion when I was manic. I'm heading to jail. I'm heading to bed. Good night. Am I hallucinating, guys? This is bad. Do animals go to heaven? I don't know. I attended a divine liturgy. I hope not. I hope there's no animals in heaven. Lizzie, check out the Syrian Orthodox Church beliefs if you want to go back to the early 1st century theology. Like I said, if I were given evidence that the Catholic Church is wrong in their sense of authority, I would absolutely become any type of Orthodox or Jewish, whichever is true. Thoughts on Unplanned? If you haven't seen it, will you watch it? Yes, I watch Unplanned. I need to film. Okay, guys, this is my thing. So it takes like 30 hours to edit a video. So like I'm editing. And so I have all these ideas and I don't have time to film and edit. So yeah. Thank you for the donation, Vincent. Do you still listen to Skillet and Jen Ledger and Red? No, I don't listen to them. Skillet really changed their music, and I'm just not a fan of the sound. But like I was talking about with Imagine Dragons, where I didn't like several of their albums, but then this album is like gold fire. I love it. It might be the same way with Skillet, where their sound in a couple of years I really like. Oh my gosh, guys, let's talk about the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. The new Taylor Swift song called Me. Have you guys heard it? It's so bad. This was really hyped up for me because I actually flew into Nashville the day it came out. And so my friends are like, oh my gosh, like you're in Nashville where Taylor Swift is. This song is coming out. It's going to be so good. And it was a huge disappointment. And it wasn't just a disappointment, but it was just a horrible song. It had no depth, horrible lyrics, horrible meaning, just So bad. And I was so excited for it because I love Taylor Swift. And I was like, wow, is the whole album going to be this horrible? So my thing is that because she's in a healthy relationship, her music is horrible, right? Because a lot of her songs are about breakups and these horrible emotions. And so now that she's actually happy, she doesn't know how to write a good song. Like, she hasn't found a way of writing a good song. Are you Hispanic? Yes. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know what race I am. Why aren't you watching the link, Gabby? Let's see. What is this?
Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte's brutal drug war has taken the lives of more than 7,000 people.
Oh my gosh. Okay, guys, there's really violence. Don't click that unless you want to see explicit content. You can't spell awesome without me. And then what was the part about I like spelling? Like, even if that was a song for a 5-year-old, it'd be horrible. So, clicks link. Just walked up to a baby skunk. So I talked really nice to the skunk and it put its tail down and wanders off being nice. Church was the first in Jerusalem, then Syria and Arabia. What do you think about the holy fire in Jerusalem? LOL, I actually thought she was too. Clicks link. Do you listen to Hillsong or other Christian contemporary music? Yes! My favorite song, and this is actually my boyfriend's favorite song, we play it together, like on guitar and stuff. It's called Reckless Love. It's the most depth song I've ever heard in my life. I'm just kidding. My boyfriend, I think, might be watching this stream. I don't know where he is right now. But he literally hates Reckless Love. And I always have music on and I'm always singing songs. Just that's how I am. I'm always really happy. And so sometimes my music will be on shuffle and like Reckless Love will come on and he's like, turn it off. I can't stand this. And sometimes I'll be singing and I'll just be, I'm not trying to sing. I'm just singing, you know? And I'll like accidentally sing a part of Reckless Love and he thinks I'm trolling him and just intentionally being annoying. So I think it was like a few days ago, I was just like, and he's like, Liz! And then like a couple minutes later, I started singing it again and he's like, stop! So yeah. Oh my gosh, guys, so I might go to an evangelical church on Sunday. Wait, today was Sunday. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm so sad. I was going to go to an extra evangelical service just because I've been really craving evangelical worship. And obviously I wouldn't go as a replacement to Mass, but there is like an evangelical church down the street that Trevor hates the music. So that means I'll love the music. He's very into chants and organ music, which is great. Okay, I don't know if this is explicit or not, but you're in timeout. Have you read Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis? Yes! I really, really love it. I think it's really good if you guys just want a basics in apologetics and communicating with non-Christians. It's really, really good. And he was Anglican, so he actually helped me become Catholic, a lot of the things in his books. So read with caution. Would you watch the video link I give you later? Yeah. I put it in a tab, so I will actually watch it at the end of this live stream. So what is it, an hour and 27 minutes? So 1 hour to go, and then I'll get to sleep. I stopped listening to evangelical contemporary music because I know they don't want to worship with a papist. Who are your favorite Catholic speakers? Emily Wilson. I know you said you love Bishop Barron and Jackie Angels. I've actually never heard either of them speak, but Jackie Angels, I met her and I really loved her. So I don't know if she's a good speaker, but I love her as a person. I love Trevor's orthodox musical tastes. You don't even know his musical tastes, but yeah. Do you have a Paschal candle? Yes. I have it in my suitcase, which is in the other room. Are you ready to confess to the whole world that you're Mexican? Maybe I am. I think I'm very ambiguous. Like, people have told me I look like many different races. Like, I've got an Asian, Hispanic, Native American, so we'll see. Do you think non-Christians are going to hell? I don't know. I think it depends on the non-Christian. Lizzie, what should the name of my book be called? Call upon Christ Jesus to save you from your sins, all of you. Don't assume that you are saved. You repent and ask Jesus. Do you think the bipolar manic is only happy, or do you think the manic can be other emotions? No. Yes and yes. So bipolar mania can be really, really happy, really, really angry. For me, personally, it's like gradual. So it's like really, really happy, and then it gets to this peak of complete anger. I don't even know how to explain it. It's not necessarily anger. It's just like the worst. I don't know how to explain it. It's not despair. It's unlike any emotion I've ever experienced, but it's like a peak of kind of like this horrible emotion type of anger. So my point is there's different types of emotions. Since I'm medicated, I've never gotten to that like awful peak where you want to like drink alcohol or take drugs. You know, I've never gotten to that point since being medicated. So there's different parts of manic, and it depends on who you are as well. Like I tend to be only happy when I'm manic. Like it's rare that I'm mad, but some people, when they're manic, they're only mad. So me personally, my manic episodes tend to not consist of that much anger, but some people, that is who they are when they're manic. So that's why I don't mind being manic as much, because I'm not emotionally abusing everyone in my life when I'm manic. That is what I was trying to ask on my first question before, but I worded it wrong. Tried Sting energy drink? No. Never, ever, ever, ever drink energy drinks, because energy drinks are a new thing for this generation, right? So they could cause heart disease and heart failure when we're 80. We don't know. We don't know the future effect of energy drinks. Like if you drink energy drinks constantly, we don't even know what will happen in the future. So that's why you should never do something that hasn't been tested. You know what I mean? I'm vegan and I eat meat. Message retracted. You guys, you moderators are on it. Any thoughts on Joan of Arc? Okay, so there's a new song by Little Mix called Joan of Arc, and it's a feminist song, and I think Joan of Arc might hate the song. What if there are vegan energy drinks? I mean, there's vegan ice cream. Oreos are vegan. Vegan does not mean healthy. It just means that animals were not tortured in the making of the product. I don't think I've ever heard Lizzie say I don't know before in my life, but you said it 3 times in this live stream. Are you all right, Lizzie? Is something bothering you? Where is he? I'll beat him up right now. I don't know where Trevor is. I don't know where my dad is. Probably both of them are sleeping. It's really late at night. Do you think Stoicism works with Catholicism? Thankfully, I drink it rarely. Any thoughts? You're so right. Natural is best. Do you think time travel to the past is possible? Yes. Because I think that time is just a human construct. So, like, for example, I pray not within time. So I'll pray for something in the past to happen. So I've prayed for historical things that have happened. Like if someone's going through a really hard time historically, then I'll like pray for them to have strength for the past. And also if something's happening in my life or in someone else's life, I'll pray after that it went well, because God is above time. You know what I mean? So I pray for things in the past and stuff. God controls time. Would you eat meat if they did it in a humane way? If it was done through cells grown, maybe. But I wouldn't eat that much meat just because it has a lot of saturated fat and it's really unhealthy. So I still wouldn't eat that much. I look around and see things man couldn't possibly have created. Look up at the sun. Look up at the moon. Is bipolar something you're born with? Yes. And I just uploaded my video. I linked it below. My new video about lies you probably believe about bipolar. And one of the lies, I talk about the whole genetic component, how you're born with bipolar. Okay, guys, so I was watching a really funny abortion video, well, anti-abortion video recently. And it was called I'm pro-life, like, convince me. So it was this guy who was like sitting at a table and anyone could come up and talk to him. Have you guys seen these? They'll go to a college campus and they'll put up a tent and they're like, I'm convince me otherwise. So Oh my gosh, I have to tell you guys about this. There's so many funny things involved. So what was the first? Oh, okay. So I'm gonna answer this question and then say the really funny thing. So the first thing, he was talking about how like a fetus, it has the genetic material of the color of its eyes, the sound of its voice, all of these things. My cat is crazy. All of these things. And then it was like even mental illness. Like a zygote. So when I was a zygote, I was bipolar. And so that just like really struck with me because I was like, oh my gosh, like when I was literally like a zygote or an enzyme, I had the genetic makeup to be bipolar when I was that little. Like that's crazy. So this pro-life video was so funny. So he's like, there are a lot of choices with this. Abstinence, contraception, adoption, and motherhood. And I thought it was funny because a lot of people are like pro-life or pro-choice, and he's like, 4 choices, and he said it so intensely, and he's like, abstinence, contraception, motherhood, adoption, like so fast. And then I really didn't like how she responded to the adoption, and she was like, there's a lot of kids in the foster care system. It's a burden on our economy. And it literally sounded like Nazi ideology. Like literally, like, oh, these people are too expensive. They don't have a good life. We should not let them live. It was just really, really messed up. And my dad was in the foster care system, had an absolutely horrible childhood, but he had an amazing life as an adult. And to say that, oh, just because someone's going to be in the foster care system, they don't deserve to live, it's so offensive, especially since my family member literally had that experience. And if you could ask him, would you rather not be born or would you rather have this horrible abusive experience growing up? I think he would be like, you know what? I would choose the abusive experience just because I'd rather have a life, you know? Do you offer up your bipolar struggle as a cross and unite your sufferings with Christ for the salvation of souls? If you don't, you should. I should. I haven't had bipolar pain in a while. In heaven, bipolar won't exist. Wrong. I think veganism is Lizzie's third mental illness. Oh my gosh, you have a nose plastic surgery. Someone deleted this comment. Guys, I actually have not had plastic surgery, and everyone thinks I have a nose job because I have a really good nose. So that's not offensive. That's a compliment. It'd be like if someone was like, oh my gosh, you get a boob job? Like, not to me, but if you said it to someone else and they're like, no, and they're like, wow, like you have a really good body. That's why they're asking that. You know what I mean? So it's not offensive. Like, I didn't get a nose. Do you guys want to see my nose? I was doing this in another video and everyone was like, I like your profile. You should do a video like that. Make a video about abortion. I will in the future. How do you know if someone is faking bipolar just to be cool? Whether or not they have severe depression episodes and are suicidal, I think that's a good one. Because having bipolar and the creativity might be cool, but if you're actually in like debilitating depression and can't get out of bed, then I think that means it's real. You're awesome. I love you, Your Majesty. Unapologetically Papist. You guys' usernames. What sucks is that the pro-abortion people here in the Philippines are coming out of the woodwork after the victory in Ireland. Yeah, it's scary. Wishing Andrew Yang had a chance to win. Bipolar is often a result of abusive environments. No, it's not. It's in my DNA. It's in my DNA. DNA. Do you know that song by Little Mix? I hope I'm no longer schizoaffective in heaven. Absolutely. Like, there's parts of bipolar that I really want to get rid of. Like the mania, the part of mania that's an emotion I've never experienced. That's like this awful feeling of anger. Like, I don't want that. I don't want the drug addiction. Your nose is perfect. I don't want the drug addiction to mania. I don't want, like, there's a lot of things I hate about it, but there's other parts that are kind of innate to who I am. Like, it's changed me, you know? There is not a bipolar gene. I'm sorry. You're right. There are several bipolar genes. There's probably like 7 or 8. They'll find it in our lifetime for sure. And then you know what? I guarantee this will happen because of how horrible humanity is. I bet in like 50 years, they're going to be like testing fetuses for bipolar. They'll be doing the genome and they'll be like, I want to abort this baby because it's going to be bipolar. I guarantee that will happen in our country. which is literally the same as the Holocaust. It's so not the same as the Holocaust, but it's the same Nazi ideology where if someone is mentally ill, we don't want them to be part of society. That's the same thing happening with Down syndrome. I cannot fathom how people are so easily getting tied up in this Nazi ideology. And I mean, it shouldn't be surprising because they manipulated so many people to believe it at the time. So, I mean, that's why it's so important to learn about the Holocaust because, I mean, obviously abortion is like a tiny, that type of ideology in abortion. Like there's other situations that are happening in other countries with genocides, but literally like it's not, oh, this happened. Like there's genocides all over the world still happening. You have a good heart. I love you. Hey, Lizzie, I have an octogenarian Jesuit priest friend who clearly has bipolar, but the institution he's in diagnoses him with an outdated term, manic depressive. Should I be concerned? Okay, watch my recent video. I'm going to link you guys my video, but I just made a video on bipolar and I literally talked within the first 2 minutes about manic depressive and the terminology because and I can tell you guys right now, so in the 2 days if you're depressed for, okay, I'm going to link it for you guys. So this is the video I just made and I talked about the manic depressive thing. So in the 1980s, they changed the term from manic depressive to bipolar. They changed it. I mean, there are different reasons why they changed it, but one of them is they thought that manic was a really like bad word. It had negative connotations. And they're like, if we start saying people are manic depressive, like people will be oppressive to them and stuff. And it'll be like a horrible thing to call people. So they changed it to bipolar, but that's like the original term. And I wish it was still called manic depressive because I'm so sick of people being like, oh my gosh, like the weather changed. It's bipolar. Oh my gosh, like my girlfriend was emotional. She's bipolar. You know what I mean? If it was called manic depressive, I don't think people would be like, oh, my boyfriend's manic depressive. He got mad at me. You know what I mean? People would actually be like, wow, this is really serious. Probably my family member being angry and then being happy isn't manic depressive. You know what I mean? So I wish we could go back to it. Okay, so guys, I want you to vote right now. Would you rather it be called depressive manic or manic depressive or bipolar? Which do you think sounds better? Depressive manic, manic depressive, bipolar. I personally like depressive manic because I think it has a really bad, like somber, like it sounds really sad. And I think bipolar is really sad. And so I think if you went with manic depressive, it's like, that's crazy. If you went with depressive manic, like that sucks. I feel so bad for you. Bipolar comes across as very like shallow almost, how it comes across. So manic depressive, bipolar. You guys like bipolar? Probably because we're used to it. So it sounds weird. Manic depressive, cycloclimic. Yeah, so that's a type of bipolar. So cycloclimic could be depressive manic light. That's what it could be called. I think bipolar sounds better. Both. If you guys could point me in the direction of credible resources that explain how the rapture isn't going to happen, I'd be super... I can't help you with that. I'm sorry. I'm really trying to educate myself on mental health issues since my cousin, who seems to have had bipolar, hanged herself last month. Oh my gosh. That's horrible. That's so awful. I'm so sorry. I don't know how you're supposed to process that. I mean, no one can process that. That's so awful. So I like watch my bipolar videos. I'll actually link you. I was just linking this to someone whose daughter has depression because I said that the suicide is a real thing. So I'm going to link the video I made on my experience with suicidal thinking and bipolar. And I think it's like a 20-minute video. I think it will really, really, really help you just because if I killed myself in bipolar, it would not be because of any situation in my life or anyone in my life. It's like voices that are told to you, and it's a situation where you're unable to think of how you're affecting other people. It's like you feel like you're being buried alive. And it's just such a low quality of life when you're in depression. And anyways, I explained it way better in the video. It's hard for me to even imagine this just because I haven't had the suicidal thinking in a long time. I mean, I've had like flickers of thoughts, but I haven't had like the intensity. So watch that video because I talk about, I think it'll give you peace about it. And I've actually had a lot of, it's really sad, but I have had a lot of people who have had people who died, and they've said that my videos have helped them process it more because you don't blame yourself, because you realize it's kind of like if you got cancer and died. You know what I mean? Please don't kill yourself, Lizzie. Don't even say that. I'm really sorry, guys. I know I will not kill myself, and I actually talked about it. You guys can watch my suicidal thinking video if you're worried, but I talked about, Lizzie, were you blocking me? No. But I talked about in the video this advice that a Catholic professor gave me in college. He didn't even know I was in depression, but it was, I tell the story in the video. I'm like sobbing. It's like my first time talking about it to anyone in the video, but besides like my therapist, you know. But he was talking about how the whole point of life is climbing up a mountain together, and it's not about your individual experience, but it's about how you're helping other people climb up the mountain. And he was talking about his father having Alzheimer's and how his father would want to do physician-assisted suicide if the condition got so bad. And so that's what he was saying. Like, it's not about what you're suffering with your individual situation, but how you're affecting other people. Like, that's the most important thing. And that helped me so much, because even when I felt like I wasn't alive, and I felt like I was outside of reality and I didn't even exist, people around me were still experiencing my joy and my passion, even though I felt like not a person, and I felt like snipped away from existence, and my brain was like a machine on autopilot. Even though I felt like that, people around me interacted with me as me. Like, I was still being myself to other people. And so that permanently stuck with me. And before that point, when I was thinking about suicidal thinking, I wasn't even thinking about other people. Like, and it sounds very, very selfish, but it's not. Like, the illness forces you to think like this, where you're not able to think of other people. But because I heard this advice from the professor, now I always think of other people. And so I think that everyone with bipolar or depression needs to kind of hear that message, where life is not about you. That sounds really, like, I'm sure that could sound offensive to some people, but genuinely it's about how you're affecting other people. But the thing is, that's really sad, is a lot of people in depression believe that people around them would be better off if they died. People genuinely think that in their depression. They think that it would be better for everyone would be happy, they'd be less of a burden if they died. And so that's why I think it's really important, if you have a friend who's in depression, to be like, you're the most important person in my life, I really love you, you bring me so much joy, like, I love that you're a part of my life. Like, tell people that, because people in depression really need to hear that. Thank you, Vincent, for the donation. Going to bed. Pray for my family. Love you. Good night. I hope you sleep well. Sorry, that's really dark, guys. I don't want to scare you. And I would, like, never say this stuff to my family, but I was specifically saying, like, if you've had someone who has killed themselves, I think it's good to understand this mindset, that it's nothing that you did wrong, and it wasn't a choice that they made. It's like cancer killing you. It isn't like they decided to kill themselves. Would you eliminate your bipolar if you could? I would eliminate some parts of it for sure. You have bipolar? Yeah, I have bipolar disorder. I made about 50 videos about it. I'll link for you guys all the videos I've made. I have a whole playlist, all my videos about depression. Okay, I'll link this. These are my videos about bipolar disorder and depression. There are 56 videos in the playlist. So I spent a lot of time helping people with that, and will continue to. Have you thought about making a video on assisted suicide euthanasia? I haven't. No, I've never thought about it, because I don't feel passionate about the issue, and I haven't really done any research in the area, just because I feel like it's very comprehensive. Like, it affects a lot of specific illnesses with specific symptoms that I don't understand. So I think if you talk about it without understanding, it's kind of like how people talk about trans issues without understanding gender dysphoria or researching gender dysphoria. It's kind of impossible to talk about that's actually a really good metaphor. Wow, that's such a good metaphor. It's kind of like, it's impractical. You can't understand trans issues if you don't understand gender dysphoria. You can't understand physician-assisted suicide if you don't understand the illnesses that people are going through. Do you feel depressed sometimes? Yeah, I haven't in like a long time because I take I don't take antidepressants. I take mood stabilizers, and so it prevents depression. Do you support polygamy or incest? Yes, I've made so many videos on polygamy. Like, what the heck? Why would I? Obviously, no. You're a moderator? Okay, you're gonna not be a moderator anymore. Like, you're not a good person to moderate if you're the one spamming. I think you mentioned you major in philosophy. Do you like Socrates, or Descartes? I love different things from different people. So you agree and disagree with certain Google. I screenshotted those video titles. Thank you. Before I became a believer, I was attacked by a demon. Tell us more about that. What do you mean? Lying, signs, and wonders, UFOs are of Satan. The truth is, there is no contemporary evidence of Jesus Christ. What do you mean by contemporary evidence? I mean, if we're talking about the life and death and resurrection of someone who existed in the first century, why would you want contemporary evidence of that? Like, if you're trying to find scrolls from the first century, why would you want a 21st century scroll? Wouldn't you want something further back? Like, I don't understand what you mean by contemporary sources. Like, when we're dealing with ancient history, we're dealing with scrolls and copies of scrolls from way back, you know? Like, we have early fragments of the Bible from, like, the first century, starting in the first century. So, you know, I'd rather have a scroll of the Bible from the first century rather than the 21st century, right? Lizzie, a Catholic apologist, just teaches that Francis is not a pope. When did the Catholic Church first get called Babylon the Great, and how do you combat it? I'm actually not sure. Does anyone know? In the live stream comment. Do you think you can be possessed by a demon and manic at the same time? My mom and psychiatrists act like they can't overlap even though they are both Christian. I think they can. I totally think they can. I think that a lot of the again, I've been saying this throughout the live stream, but it's all about definition. So I think if we define things, we might agree with each other. But I think that especially in Holy Scripture, when it talks about demons, like some of those stories, I'm like, you're schizophrenic. Other times, it's like, you probably have seizures. You know what I mean? But they're calling it demon possession. And so I think that there's not a dichotomy between these physical neurons, mental illness, and between spiritual things. Like, it's intertwined. And so I think that, like, me having depression, it's totally spiritual warfare, because when people are in depression, they want to kill themselves. They want to not believe in God. Obviously, that's spiritual warfare. What else do you call it? But also, you should take antidepressants and get medication. Does that make sense? So there's not a dichotomy. A lot of people, when they're calling mental illness demon possession, they're like, you shouldn't go to treatment. You shouldn't be diagnosed. You shouldn't go on medication. I'm against modern psychology. You can donate through your iTunes account through YouTube. Agree, Lizzie, mental illness is a tool from the devil. And it doesn't mean like, oh, you're possessed by the devil. I think that, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of illnesses. Lizzie, the Vatican II section is not the Catholic Church, but an end time counter church in the Christ's resurrection and crucifixion are the most documented events in the ancient world. Absolutely. We have 5,000 scrolls of scripture, whereas for other literature, like by Herodotus and Plato, will have like 10 scrolls maybe. So it's literally the most documented event in history. What's your take on minimalism? What do you think it can tie into Catholic life, especially because of its sustainability factors? I think I'm a very materialistic person, but I'm very minimalist with, okay, so I travel with a lot of stuff. Like, I have a lot of clothes and stuff, but my makeup collection is really, really small. Like, I don't have that much makeup, and I have like some jewelry, but not like a ton. So I think I live a pretty minimalist lifestyle, but just kind of like automatically. So, but I live in an apartment and I'm pretty young, so I don't have like a ton of stuff. But Lizzie, please stream earlier on Sunday nights. I have PA RCC testing tomorrow for school. It's literally 1:30 a.m. for me. I'm sorry. Everyone lives all over the world, so it's difficult. No Christian can be attacked by a demon. What should I do when Protestants come knocking at my door? You should actually engage them. I think it's really important to engage people like that. One of my, so I went to Pepperdine University. It's a Protestant school. It's Church of Christ. And one of my friends, and he was actually in my Greek classes, and he was part of the like convocation department. So he said that there were 3 sets of Mormon missionaries who he converted out of Mormonism by inviting them into his house and having Bible studies. And so the Mormon church in the town actually like put an X on the house because, right, the missionaries are supposed to go to all the houses. So literally, like if you dialogue and have discussions, you can convert them out. But it's like I was saying at the very beginning with this guy whose friend just became Catholic and wants to become Orthodox. You have to be willing to dialogue and willing to be wrong and actually read the sources or the Bible verses next to each other. Padre Pio was attacked by the devil every single day and night. Yeah, so someone who's like, people cannot be demon possessed. Like, obviously, people who are Christians are going to be the most attacked, by spiritual warfare. I avoid Mormons. Jehovah's Witnesses are more fun to talk to. Do you think Catholics should go door to door evangelizing? No. Okay, so I mean, it depends on your culture and stuff, but Mormons and Jehovah's Witness, sometimes when they knock on the door, they're like, have you been saved by Jesus Christ? And I'm like, yes. And then they're like, have you read the Book of Mormon? And then I'm like, yes. And I just keep answering their questions, and then they literally leave. Like, because we have a Mormon church right by my parents' house, and they would come to our door, and it was actually really funny. So have you guys seen the Book of Mormon musical? So I don't recommend it if you're under the age of 21 because it's kind of like explicit-ish. So definitely like be an adult. Don't watch it if you're under 21. But they have a song that's like, hello, my name is Elder Price. And it's literally, so I was actually listening to the song with my family. And then literally the next day, the Mormon missionaries come to our house and ding dong, and they ding the doorbell. So, and they were like, do you know the gospel of Christ? And I'm like, yes. Are you saved? And I'm like, yes. Have you read the Book of Mormon? Yes. And then they leave. So just dialogue with people. Don't just shut the door. What happens when Mormons go to the door on Halloween night? Maybe I should dress up as that for Halloween. That would be really funny. Whoa, bro. Whoa, bruh. Especially those characters that call the church today the Vatican II cult. Spiritual warfare is going to battle with Antichrist's face. May God bless you always. God bless you, Ruby. Okay, so it's been 2 hours, and it's actually almost 1 a.m. I got back from the Game of Thrones party really late. If you're new here, I didn't watch Game of Thrones. But do you have a second and third favorite religion? Judaism and the Orthodox Church. All the Orthodox churches. Also, I would like to say, I think it's really cool how like the entire Supreme Court is Catholics and Jews. That's the Supreme Court in our country. I think it speaks a lot to truth. Thoughts on people who say the Old Testament rules are not relevant to today, but the New Testament also says to not forget the laws of the Old Testament. Absolutely. So Jesus said not an iota will be taken out of the law. But obviously, like, there's nitpicky things that were not intrinsic to the law, like eating shrimp, that are not part of the new covenant. But this is why it's so important to have the tradition of the church to interpret the Bible. Because if you just read that, it's really ambiguous. Like, can we get tattoos? Should we be not eating shrimp? You know what I mean? So that's why it's so important to have the church fathers and the bishops and the councils to help interpret and understand the Bible into today. Like, it's so crucial, or you can get these weird views. Please come back soon. This live streaming was too long and you need to rest. I know I need to sleep. I worked so hard today. But tomorrow is going to be the video on the Orthodox Church. I really want to get footage of the icon room, but we'll see. Do you believe in reincarnation? Okay, I'm gonna go, guys. There's a lot of comments coming in and a lot of different ideas. So I love you guys so much. I'll come on and stream maybe at the end of this week. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!